We're working on a skirt. This is step 5A, waistband to skirt. Wrong to right side technique. So we've already sewn the wrong side of the waistband to the inside of the skirt. And now we're going to go ahead and place the grosgrain ribbon underneath the seam allowance. This is the right side of the skirt. And we're going to fold the seam allowance over from the top of the waistband over all of our stitching. And we're going to pin it. So we've got right side of skirt, seam allowance, tucking grosgrain underneath. This is the tummy side. This is the face side that's going to show, right? We're going to end up seeing that here. The grosgrain side, that's going to be towards our tummy on the inside or wrong side of the garment. So we're working on tucking that seam allowance over the grosgrain ribbon, putting the waistband skirt over the front of the skirt. Good. We'll go around and make a circle. That looks good. Oh, tuck that underneath. Here's a little area we want to tuck. Putting the waistband over. Great. So now we're going to go ahead and use some pins. And we're going to start with our anchor pins. So we'll start here at a side seam. We're going to look for that notch. I've marked it. That looks right dead on that side seam. Perfect. It's pinned. It's pressed. I'm going to pin it. Good. I'm going to come over to the extension. And I'm going to pin this down. And then I'm going to divide from the side seam over to the extension. I'm going to look and see where is that center front. Or the center back. And I'm going to line those notches up. Put that waistband down. Put a pin right through the edge of the waistband and all the way through the skirt coming back up. So then I'll take the section from the extension to the center back. Make sure that waistband's over the stitching. Take that middle space between, divide, put a pin through the edge, and then all the way through the edge, and all the way through. Best done on a flat surface. I've got a little portable cutting mat here. Works nice. Now we've got from the center back to that right side seam. We'll divide this just like we did the first section. Find the middle spot. Put a pin on the edge of the waistband, through the waistband, and up through the whole waistband. Divide the next section. Right on the edge of that waistband. All the way through up the seam allowance of the skirt. And the waistband and everything, covering it all up. We don't even see that ugly stitch anymore, or 2 rows of ugly stitch. It's going to start looking really nice here, nice and clean finish. Now you can see why we spent time doing it the way we did, because this is a beautiful clean finish technique. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to line up the center fronts together. Here we see that notch. Go ahead and put that anchor pin in there, dividing that space perfectly. And now we'll go ahead and divide center front to the right side seam. Looks about right. Get a pin right on the edge of that seam allowance. Right on the edge of that waistband. Divide up the spaces. And now we'll do center front to the side seam. But this is a little bit messy, so let's make sure we go ahead and tuck the threads underneath. Divide that space. Get a pin in there. Let me go ahead and really pay attention. Pinning this area. Covering up all these stitches. And a couple more pins. Great, now we've got the whole waistband pinned. There's our extension. And we're going to give an edge stitch right here. One long edge stitch. Going to finish up here. We're first going to start with our extension. Let me get another pin in here. And you're sewing on the right side of the waistband. We're going to give this a little edge stitch through the layers of seam allowance. And we're right at the extension. Let's go forward. Little back stitch. And forward, and then very carefully over the zipper. Look, I don't want to go over that metal part there. Very carefully. I went up a little bit. Let's get that pin out of the way. Let's give this an edge stitch. And we're removing the pins as we approach them. And we're pushing the bubble, means making sure that you're pushing any excess fabric underneath the needle. Doesn't look like we have any excess, but it could happen later. Continue with our edge stitch. Coming towards the end, finishing up our edge stitch, going over the top of the zipper. Let's make sure we don't go over the metal part. Okay, I can see where it is. Good, it's below. Let me feel it. If you want to mark it, go ahead and mark it. Finishing up with a little back stitch, and then there is our edge stitch for the waistband of our skirt. This looks great. Trim the threads at the other end, and that concludes step number 5B.